Welcome back to another episode of Chasing Leadville 100. My name is Amanda, and today I'm going to walk you through a full day of eating. So make sure to stick around until the end. Like the video if you like this style of video. But first, we have a speed workout at 21 Run. We were actually supposed to be hitting the trails today. We are 2 weeks out from Leadville, but as you can look around, you can see it's pretty smoky out. So to save my lungs and to save my body this close to race day, we're gonna do a lot of indoor training. So unfortunately for me, treadmill is where it's at. I did 20 miles on the treadmill yesterday. We're gonna hit this speed workout today, a little lift, and we'll see what the rest of the week holds. So let's get a speed workout in at 21 Run. Gel mid-run. Okay, just had a great speed session, changed out of my disgustingly sweaty clothes, and we are about to go hit a lift. So let's get it. We are gonna stop at the grocery store on the way home because I am starving, and grab a little snack, and then we're gonna go home and eat some breakfast. So come along. Berries, almond milk, pea protein, fiber, monk fruit, organic coconut sugar, flaxseed oil. That's a seed oil. Sunflower oil. You might not be able to get one here. Shoot, they usually have the Koya, which is like a ready-to-drink protein, but we might just have to wait until we're home, which is totally fine. I'd rather do that than drink something that's gonna make my stomach hurt. So yeah, I don't know if any of this. Canola oil. Isn't that crazy? That's like a third ingredient in this. Canola oil. Gross.
250, 2, 2. Two, three, three.
Okay, so here is a little rundown of what we got. Normally, I like to get these Koya protein shakes, which are like pre-made. They sell them generally at Harmon's. Weird they didn't have them here. So anyway, I got fruit, so I'm gonna have some mixed berries on the ride home. And I don't normally do this, like it's not something I do every time that I work out, but I'm feeling very hungry today, so I wanna make sure that I get something in before I get like too starving. We got coconut water, and this is a great source of carbohydrates and electrolytes. Obviously I had BPN electrolytes this morning, but just kind of like a tasty cold drink. And then for a protein, just to make sure that I'm getting some protein in after my workout, I'm gonna have the chicken one. These Nick sticks, they're really clean, really delicious. This is actually a chicken Nick stick, so total 16 grams of protein in this. So just really quick, honestly, before we get full on breakfast, but I am hungry, so I'm gonna down this on the drive home. All right, so we are gonna make breakfast. I am gonna start off with making my matcha. So I've been asked so many times of how I make my matcha, and being Japanese, I definitely take this really seriously. So I've found honestly that I don't like the matcha that I get at most coffee shops, so I just prefer to make it at home. Also way cheaper. When you buy something like this, which is ceremonial grade matcha, it is expensive, but when you actually do the math on like what you're spending when you get out of a coffee shop, it's significantly less expensive and just so much better. So to start off with, this is called the Naoki Fine Matcha Ceremonial Grade. I've tried a bunch of different brands, but this one is really good. How you can tell if it's a high quality matcha, is the color. So if you can see in here, it's like pure green. There's no brown in it. It doesn't look like overly roasted. It's just like super, super green. So that's kind of how you know it's a good matcha. If you're not buying ceremonial grade matcha from Japan, it's probably just not gonna be high quality matcha, and that's just the way it is. That's the cold hard truth, y'all. So I'm gonna grab my little stick for measuring. I don't measure anything, it's all just like eyeballing it, but I like my matcha very strong, so I'll do 3 little like scoops, and this is actually what this tool is meant for, to scoop the matcha out. I'll put it in my bowl. Then I will put non-boiling water. So this is another flaw that I see in coffee shops and when people make it at home. You do not want your water boiling. So I actually let it just heat to 180, and then I let it sit for a little bit because you do not want to burn your matcha. Green tea is very sensitive to burning. So if you burn your matcha, it's just gonna taste worse and it's just not gonna be as good. So I let it cool off just a tiny bit, and then also do a wooden bamboo whisk. So if you don't do this process and you're just using like a hand mixer, you're just not gonna get the same taste. This is like the aeration, everything has been handcrafted over hundreds and hundreds of years, so don't try and fix something that is not broken. I put ice in here because I always do ice matcha. Do ice, and then I'll do almond milk. This one is organic unsweetened vanilla. Just there. And then I just do a little bit of stevia, but I'll show you when I get there how I do that. We've got the matcha in the mixing bowl. We just pour the hot water over it, kind of let it sit like that. Just enough to basically allow the matcha to mix in properly, and then we whisk. So there is, it depends on who you ask, but there is like a science to the whisking process, but I just try and do some circles, some back and forwards. You want to aerate and kind of get a little bit foamy in the actual matcha itself. That means that the air is being like pulled throughout the matcha. So we want to just make sure at the end of the day that there's just not huge clumps in it, which I've had in my matcha. It actually doesn't bother me all too much, but that's the goal here. And then I will actually add the stevia to the hot matcha, and you can use whatever sweetener that you prefer. This is just my preference. I've used liquid drops as well, which I actually do like as well, but I don't want to really flavor my matcha, so I just throw some stevia in there, mix it up. The hot water does help if you're adding anything granulated to a hot beverage and then into a cold beverage. You don't really want to add like granulated stuff to cold beverages because then it's just going to sit at the bottom and kind of stay crystallized. I'm going to mix that up really, really well. And then this is my favorite part. Watch the magic happen. So we pour the green into the foamy milk. Then we can mix. Woo! And that's how I make my at-home matcha. Okay, that's bomb. I nailed that. So obviously I drink matcha because I'm Japanese and it's delicious, but also matcha has theanine in it. So if you're having a caffeinated beverage that also contains theanine, it helps the actual caffeine keep you from like crashing. So we've all experienced where we've had a ton of coffee, we like hit this high, and then all of a sudden we come crashing down. Theanine helps to stabilize the caffeine within your body. So matcha is a natural form of caffeine, but also theanine. So fun facts. And while I was at the gym, I had my husband defrost some elk. So this is my ground elk that I eat. You guys have seen this many times before, but it's the force of nature. Ground elk, this is what I have for many meals of each day. So I generally eat about this whole pack every single day, and it's 14 ounces, so right below a pound. So we're gonna put this on the stove. Throw it on. I'm gonna season up my ground elk with some Redmond sea salt. This is gonna be the garlic salt, and then I'll throw some pepper on there as well. So I like to cook my meat in the seasonings just to make sure that the flavor is being like fully engulfed in the meat, if that's the right word for that. But I'll just basically like flatten it out a little bit. Throw my seasonings. Garlic salt. And then a bunch of ground pepper. Okay. Hey! I don't want to play. Hold on. Okay, perfect. Thanks so much. So I really toyed around with the idea of making this video. Honestly, I told myself many years ago that I would never film a what I eat in the day video. But when I was talking about that, I was mostly talking about Instagram. I think there's a lot of issues that I see when I see people posting what I eat in the days. Oftentimes they start with a girl showing her abs and her body, and then they flash forward to like clips of her eating, and there's just no context to it. And in my eyes, I don't really love the idea of a prescriptive diet that people are giving when they're not registered dietitians, and they're basically saying like, in order to look like me, this is how you should eat. When there are so many other reasons why someone looks the way that they do, specifically with things like abs, like a lot of that is just purely based on genetics. I really sat down with myself and tried to figure out whether or not this is something that I wanted to do, but I do think that it's super important. I talk about nutrition all the time when it comes to fueling for performance, and I feel like this is a good insight into what I eat. But remember that what works for my body might not work for your body, and this is definitely not a what I eat in the day to look like how I look. Like that's just would be so silly to try and pitch it that way, but this is how I fuel for my training. And once again, what works for me might not be something that works for you. Also, just to give context as well, I was vegan for several years, and then I started eating meat again, and now I eat a ton of red meat because it's what works for my body and how I feel my best. I also have celiac, so I don't eat any gluten, not because I think gluten is bad for you, but because it makes me so incredibly ill that I would never be able to do anything on a daily basis, let alone perform well with eating gluten, because it's just poison to me. So that's the way that I eat. So I don't want you guys to like look too deep into this or feel as though I'm giving you a prescription on how to eat, because that's not at all what I'm trying to do. This is just an intimate look into my day and how I feel on this singular day as an athlete. Every day is super different. Sometimes I'll have chips in a day, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll eat 80-20, sometimes I'll eat 100-0 as far as cleanliness goes, but this is just kind of a look into that. So I hope that helps to kind of clear the air and kind of gives you some insight on what I'm thinking when I talk about what I eat in a day. So, all right. In my BPN video, I said this is a really masculine breakfast, and I had so many people who were upset by the fact that I said that. I think it's really silly because I was just joking around, but I really do feel like this is a super masculine breakfast. I'm having elk and I'm having eggs. I don't know if that's like a controversial topic, but to me, it's what works for me. It is a masculine breakfast in my eyes, and I think it's silly to say that. So if you're peeved by that, I'm so not sorry. eggs in the milk juice / crumbles. Oh no. I ran out of oil in this little guy, so I'm just gonna pour straight from here. One thing that I do not eat, which once again, a little controversial, is seed oils. So occasionally if I go out to dinner, I know that I'm going to be consuming them because most restaurants use them, but at home, we don't have any packaged foods that contain seed oils. For me, it just increases the inflammation in my body. I notice a huge difference in my diet when I do consume them than when I don't. So I just try and stick with olive oil or avocado oil in cooking at home, and then anything that has like a package is generally something that's a little bit more risky with seed oil. So I just check the back of the package to see if it has it in it, and if it does, I just choose not to eat it. So we're gonna do extra virgin olive oil, and then our farm fresh eggs from my neighbor. I do need to wash these because they do come a little dirty. I feel like eggs are one of those things that I can just eat like a million of and never get tired of them or full from them. We're gonna get a nice sizzle here. But I have probably around, on average 4 a day, but I, no joke, could have 10 in a sitting. Easy peasy. No, I'm not concerned about high cholesterol, anything like that. I think a lot of those things come from foods that are packaged or highly processed that can actually impact your body more than things like eggs. So once again, personal opinion. Do what works for you, boo-boo. So I'm gonna have about half of this elk for breakfast. I'm gonna keep the rest of it for either lunch or dinner. I'll do about that. So that's almost half a pound of elk. And then I'll do these eggs when they're ready. And that is post-training breakfast. All right, we are prepping dinner now, so we're gonna start the crock pot. That way it has enough time to fully cook. I am gonna do chicken breast in the crock pot. This is actually my first time using the crock pot, so we'll see how this turns out. And fun fact, chicken is quite honestly the grossest thing ever to me raw. I was vegan for so long, and even before I was vegan, like the feeling and the look of chicken raw is just disgusting to me. So we're gonna get through it. It'll be good. We'll throw it in here. Then I don't have to think about it at all. But I'm just gonna put these in fully together. What does that mean? Like all in one piece. So I won't have to like cut it or anything like that. We're gonna cut this open. These are organic chicken breasts from our local, you see, even that grosses me out. These are chicken breasts from our local grocer, the same place that I get my ground elk. So super high quality, love that they really prioritize humanely raised chicken as well. So we're gonna cut into these, throw these into the wash after we cut into this chicken because we don't want salmonella. Just pop these bad boys in there. Boom! Now I can forget about it. Okay, so we've got the chicken breasts in there, just sitting pretty. We're gonna throw some seasonings in there. I'm just gonna eyeball everything, but I'm gonna throw in some of the same garlic salts that we put on our elk earlier. Just toss that over, and then we'll do a little bit of this seasoning salt by Redmond as well, just to get like some depth of flavor. And then I always have to do a little bit of soy sauce or Bragg's liquid amino, so I'm gonna do a little Bragg's liquid aminos just to add a little bit more depth of flavor. And then we'll top it off with some bone broth. Most recipes call for chicken stock or like vegetable broth or whatever. I'm gonna use like full-blown bone broth just to add a little bit more protein. And there's some spices and things also added in this, so it's gonna be nice and flavorful. I think most recipes called for like a cup and a half. So actually I'm just gonna eyeball it. Screw it. Apparently you can't really mess up the crock pot, so we'll see how many cups. 4 servings, 8 ounces. I don't remember how many ounces are in a cup, but perfect, looks great. Super accurate. And then we're gonna pop this on to the crock pot system. we're gonna cover up. This is from Green Life, so it's a ceramic crock pot. So if you're looking for one that's not Teflon, this might be a good option for you. This is my first time using it, so I can't make any recommendations quite yet, but we'll see. So we're gonna pop it for, we'll do 5 hours, and then, because it says, the recipe says 4.5 hours is kind of like your middle ground, 3.5, 4.5 hours. So we'll do 5, that way we can have it run. Since we have about 4 hours for this to get finished up, I am gonna finish up some work and pop on a meeting and just get some adulting things done, and I'll catch you guys at dinner. Since we're being honest, I made another matcha, okay? Caffeinated and happy about it. Caffeine addict and accepting of that. But I'm about halfway through some client work, so I needed a little pick-me-up, and this one is just as delicious. I wanted to touch on a few things just to make sure that we're all on the same page. There is a reason I never talk about how my body looks. And the reason is because that is not at all my goal, and it hasn't been for many, many years. And truthfully, I don't think that I could have a healthy relationship with food or a healthy relationship with my body if I was in a constant state of trying to change what it looks like. For me, training for aesthetics is such a dangerous game. It's like playing with fire, truly, because when I am so focused on what my body looks like and constantly body checking myself in the mirror and concerned about what I'm consuming from a aesthetics basis only, I'm really missing out on the entire reason why I feel as though I'm happy in this life. I feel like aesthetics comes from a constant comparison of yourself and others. I think training for aesthetics and like bodybuilding and that whole community is so based in vanity. And unfortunately for us, our looks, the way our body looks, like our body can look so different on one day versus the next day. And if we tie all of our value to the way that our body looks, and one day to the next, we tie our emotions to the way that our body looks, it's just such a dangerous game. And especially for us women, we're already put in such a stressful and pressurized environment when it comes to comparison that I just don't think that it's healthy. And there was definitely a time in my life where I wanted to be a bodybuilder or I wanted to train for aesthetics. And I just have found that that has never put me in a good place. And I definitely train for performance, as you guys know. And I don't talk about the way that my body looks because truthfully, I don't find value in that at all. I obviously love my body because of what it can do for me. I obviously think that I'm beautiful. And I think there's obviously confidence that needs to be had as an athlete in the way that your body operates. But in true reality, I have no desire to gain weight, to lose weight, to look more shredded. Obviously, like, it's cool to get shreds every now and then, but that's not my goal, or it has never been my goal in performance. And I surely do not attach my running to my aesthetics. If you are someone who is getting into running because you want to lose weight or you want to look different, I would just tread very lightly in that realm. I would hope that most of my viewers are looking to get into running because they want to challenge themselves, or they want to try a race for the first time, or to get competitive in a sport instead of for the pure idea of burning calories. It's just so much more than that, and running can provide so much more to your life than just simply being a tool to lose weight. Obviously, in order to actually lose weight and sustain weight loss, you have to eat in a caloric deficit. And I have clients who are trying to lose weight for their overall health, which I totally support for others. But that is how you build the tools to be able to maintain weight loss over time. Running is not one of those things that's just like gonna magically allow you to lose a bunch of weight and keep it off for a lifetime and build the tools to be able to live a healthy lifestyle. It can be added to your day as movement, which we all need, as cardiovascular health, which we all need. But truthfully, that's just kind of how I feel about the link between aesthetics, running, and nutrition and aesthetics. And if you're interested in kind of my philosophy or my perspective on those things, that is just how I feel about it. So cheers to eating. Cheers to releasing the pressure of trying to look a certain way in order to make yourself feel happy because you've found purpose and value in who you are as a human instead of finding value in how you look on a daily basis. So I'm not someone who tracks macros. I do have a good idea of the amount of calories, the carbs, the protein in food already because for years I hyperfixated on those numbers. So it's not something I can ever honestly like escape in my brain. It's just burned into my brain forever. I unfortunately like know off the top of my head how many calories are in a chicken breast, how many protein, like it's just something that's been ingrained into me. So when I say that I intuitively eat, I understand that I intuitively eat, but I also have a strong understanding of nutrition that allows me to be able to intuitively eat. But I care significantly more about the quality of the ingredients that are going into my body than the calories that are in them. So kind of once again, that's just how my philosophy has changed over the years. And it's something that I'm so grateful for because it's allowed me to truly just be free in the way that I eat, free in the way that I train, and truly actually just focus on performance. You are beautiful, you are valuable, you are so capable, and you don't need to hyperfixate on those numbers in order to be successful in running. Here's a reminder to that. I'm just realizing that my camera might die mid-conversation here, but I'm starting to get a little bit hungry, so I'm gonna have a mush. These are pre-made overnight oats. They're super delicious, really clean ingredients, and then I'm gonna make a protein shake with creatine and vegan protein. So I'm gonna do that really quick, hopefully before my camera dies. We're gonna use vegan protein. We'll just do vanilla. Actually, I might wanna do chocolate. Let's do chocolate. We are gonna do BPN vegan protein in the chocolate flavor and then add creatine to this. I take 3 to 5 grams of creatine every single day. If you're a woman and you are not taking creatine, what are you doing with your life? I sound like a broken record, but this is the #1 supplement that I recommend to women who are looking to improve their health in general. All women, if you're active or not, this is definitely what I recommend for you to take supplement-wise. So let's get it. A little pre-dinner snack. I'm going to finish up the rest of this coconut water and then finish up the elk that we made earlier. Cheers. This is what a training volume does to your appetite. I just had 4 eggs. I didn't capture them on video because I totally forgot. And then I had an IQ bar. This coconut chip flavor is so delicious. And I am about to have a grapefruit and a miso soup. Super random combination of snacks, but that's what I'm gonna have because we're still waiting on the chicken to be done. So honoring my appetite and eating because I am hungry. Okay, so the chicken is done. So this is what it looks like currently. I just put a fork through it. So honestly, like super duper, what is it called? Tender. And the juices obviously are from the chicken broth, but I tried it and it's pretty dang good. I am going to cut up and boil some potatoes over the stove. So this will be the carb for the night, but we're getting things wrapped up. I normally don't have like dinner, like I have a bunch of snacks and then I have dinner a little bit later because Tyler doesn't get home from jujitsu until later. But this is pretty late, it's almost 9 p.m. So that's why I had so many snacks in between. But that is going to wrap up dinner. I'm gonna serve it up and then I'll close out with y'all. Here is the final meal of the day. I am gonna go enjoy some of the fireworks. I'll show you guys what it looks like. But it is Pioneer Day, which means that there is basically another 4th of July celebration here in Utah. And I'll show you guys. Some fireworks going on over there. That is gonna wrap up today's full day of eating. I went ahead and I actually just tracked everything that I ate today, and I haven't done this in years, so it's kind of crazy to see what the actual numbers were, but I ended today right around 3,300 calories. I ended with 235 grams around of protein, and right around 315 grams of carbs and 100 grams of fat. I would probably want to sacrifice some of my protein intake for carbohydrates in the future. I didn't track any like weights or anything of anything that I ate today, but I think, you know, moving forward, just to be a little bit more mindful of if I'm eating 300 without really thinking about it, just kind of pushing more of the carbohydrates to fuel my workouts better. But other than that, pretty solid day. Obviously that's a ton of protein for my body size, but pretty cool to see that I do that without like much thought at all. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this, and I hope this was helpful for you. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out. We are getting so close to race day. I cannot even believe it. I will see you guys in next week's video, but until then, stay unbreakable.